background about OneOrigin if you're not familiar with us. OneOrigin, we aim to be the global leader in kind of fostering technology-driven solutions towards solving critical business problems in each sector that we service, right? And in this case, today's problem at hand is how all of you handle, and process transcripts as part of a regular admissions process, right? So in today's session, we want to give you all the opportunity to be introduced to the benefits of a technology that we believe will revolutionize the way that your organizations process those transcripts, right? And in fact, you're going to hear about those benefits firsthand from a representative from Jacksonville University. And that's a university that has been a real early adopter of this technology and one that finds itself sort of on the forefront of this emerging technology that, again, is going to change the way that you guys process transcripts as part of the admissions process. So bit of an agenda as we go through here today. First, we're going to hear about how Jacksonville University has processed its transcripts prior to partnering with OneOrigin, which will likely remind you of your current workflows. And then we're going to hear about the process that Jacksonville underwent to transform their systems. Then we'll hear about sort of the impact that this system had on their workflow post-implementation. And then finally, once we understand what this system can do, we'll learn about Sia and we'll meet her, the unified AI engine that's actually behind all of this revolutionary technology. And we'll learn how easily it can become part of your organization. So I'll start everything off here. Just quick introductions with myself as well as the rest of the panel. My name is Matthew Kusan. I am a solutions executive here at OneOrigin. I'll be the host for the session, keeping us on the rails. We also have with us my colleague Charvi. She's a customer success manager as well as a product specialist here at OneOrigin. And we're delighted to also have our Vice President of Sales and Customer Success, Bancham Sayan. Bancham, I'll give you the floor to introduce our special guest.
Yes, thank you, Matthew. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to introduce our guest today. He is the Director of Enrollment Technologies and Operations at Jacksonville University, Florida. With more than 6 years in higher education, he possesses a keen understanding of the industry, as well as the modern advances that the industry has seen. He is certainly a forward thinker, and with his ability to manage data migrations, understand enrollment, management data structures, he's being asked to oversee SIA's implementation at Jacksonville University. So please join me in welcoming Daniel MacElveen. Dan, we're glad to have you with us here. And over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Bancham and Matthew. Definitely excited to be here. As I mentioned, again, my name is Dan MacElveen. I have the pleasure to be the Director of Enrollment Technology and Operations at Jacksonville University. And so I have a wide variety of experience in higher education in different avenues, and just recently found myself now overseeing some more of the technology and operational process management here at the institution, which is really exciting for me. So trying to keep it short as an introduction, but would really like to kind of move on and just kind of discuss some of these challenges, as they mentioned, some as they are specific to us, but I know that these may also connect with individuals or institutions that are on this call. So, really the reason why we started down the pathway of searching for a solution is that our transcript process of intaking transcripts, processing the data off of the transcripts, getting it into our system, of moving students through the admissions cycle, really was a very manual and a very cumbersome process. When I originally took over this position, we had 4 student workers and a ops specialist underneath myself, and a large portion of their day was really dominated by making sure that our transcripts are processed in a timely manner to ensure that we were getting students moved through our funnel, through our workflow And as a rolling admissions department, we pride ourselves on getting these students moved through, getting these students decisions in a timely manner to make sure that they have what they need in front of them to make a decision about the school that they choose to attend in the next 4 years. And so when I saw kind of how arduous this process really was, and it's a great first kind of bullet to hit there, it was very clear to us that we needed to find a solution to provide additional and increased efficiency, to take that workload off of some of the human capital resource that we were expending to get these moved through. And really, there's only so many transcripts a human can process before errors are natural to occur, whether that's the wrong GPA, the wrong school gets assigned, the wrong amount of credits. Really, the list can go on. There were a number of different just human user error, explainable away human error that did affect some of our admission process later on down the road. I speak about this in the air of the enrollment management department. However, it also kind of crossed over into our registrar staff with transfer credit evaluations, with processing final transcripts. It really did kind of expand past just our singular office in the enrollment management and enrollment services suite. So as we have seen kind of an increase in interest, we do have some unique programs that have provided us transcripts from high schools that I feel like everyone on this webinar probably can understand or appreciate. That seem like they're popping up everywhere, every single day. More and more high schools that we've never seen transcripts from before. We've never seen their grading scale before. And so we are trying to keep up with it. We were trying to keep up with standardization. We were trying to keep up with what that process looked like through our CRM. And again, it was a very, very manual process. And because of that, it did create delays. It created delays in how our data migrated, whether that was from the ops department to the recruiters, whether that was from admissions to the registrar's office or to our SIS from the CRM. It created delays, and it did also create inaccurate data migration through that process. So again, we were seeing an increased amount of transcripts, an increased amount of new transcripts, and an increased demand on our time to try to get these through. So I know that a lot of you have seen these challenges. I know that Banchan has an exercise that he was looking to do, but I wanted to kind of discuss through that. So Banchan, I'm sorry, I thought Matthew, sorry, I saw Banchan unmute himself, but I know that you guys have an exercise before we move on to the next section that I wanted to open up for your team.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you there. Yeah, we really do appreciate you sharing those kind of struggles. I think, like you said, a lot of people are going to share those struggles. We actually have a quick survey for those of you in attendance here. Really just curious whether or not you're sort of seeing the same problems that Dan was seeing over at Jacksonville University. We'd love to just get your input on that, see if you're having the same problems.
So I know we'll give it a minute to kind of see those results pull through, and then I'm really excited that I get to kind of talk about after that, kind of go into what our path looks like, and also kind of what those end results also have left Jacksonville University with, in the grand scheme of our transfer process, our transfer evaluation process for both high school, college transfer, and hopefully additional as well.
Absolutely. It looks like we got a lot of really good responses there, so I think we can keep that moving, Dan. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. So then moving on, to talk about some of kind of the pathway that we took to get to that automation, to get to moving that workload, moving that, I saw on that poll that a lot of individuals on this call, they've experienced that heavy workload, they've experienced the inadequacies, they've experienced the inaccuracies. And so, when we met with Sia, in OneOrigin's team, the product met exactly what we were looking for. They provided a solution to every single one of these, complications or really challenges, hurdles that we found in front of ourselves. And so it became to the point where we needed a solution. OneOrigin provided a really great option in through Sia to provide a solution for that. And so we kind of jumped right in 2 feet first, said, let's do it. Let's figure out how to get this done. I think our student workers threw a party for themselves when they realized they didn't have to do it anymore. But we were really intrigued with how this technology, that may be used in some other fields, could also directly translate into assisting us get over those hurdles and assisting us in finding a new process. Part of why I took on my role here at Jacksonville University is because I really enjoy efficient and automatic process management. Nothing should, unless it absolutely has to be, nothing should be overly manual, you should try to eliminate as much user error as possible. And so Sia did that for us. What we really liked about it was that there was a relatively, I'll say, minimal lift from our end. Besides providing them the transcripts to train with Sia, besides, kind of meeting with them about our articulation database with the college and universities that we have, those types of agreements with, or just the transfer credits with, a large majority of the lift came from OneOrigin's team. It was a really great experience because we didn't have, and I'm sure that some of you may experience the same, and if you don't, I feel very fortunate. It's very fortunate of you. I feel like that's great. We have very little IT assistance here. Unfortunately, here at Jacksonville University, our IT team is definitely a little understaffed, and so there are many projects they cannot assist with and they will not assist with. Taking on some integrations with outside vendors happens to be one of those items. And so coming into my role, I was not the stereotypical, I think, individual who would roll into a technology and operations role where I didn't have kind of the comm side, the computer science, or even technology background. I just happened to be really good at process management, and I have a very large willingness to take on projects and learn. And so OneOrigin, I took on this contract with us, took us on as a client right at the beginning of my learning curve. Fortunately, now I'm a little bit at the end of that learning curve, but at the very beginning. And so with minimal assistance from our IT team, with myself only having I would say a verbal understanding of the technologies that we're working with, OneOrigin's team was able to help us navigate challenges with not being able to set up APIs, having to take on different file formats than what they were used to sending to institutions already. Helping work through how to make format definitions, what data could we intake currently, what data would they need to wait to import to us. There was a lot that they had to change about their implementation process, specifically to Jacksonville University, because of our probably increased needs over some of the institutions here that probably have other individuals that is a little bit more literate in some of this information, or maybe have additional support in larger teams than we did. My team at the time was only 2 individuals. And so the fact that they could jump in with a client that couldn't really provide a lot of support from the client end and still move through the implementation process relatively quickly. There were some growing pains, but then provide us back accurate data, quick training of transcript understanding through Sia, and answer every single question that came up along the way. So beyond, I think, the product that you'll hear about more, obviously, from their technical team and from me as well throughout this webinar, the product is incredible, But I think what takes the product and what took our partnership with SIA to the next level was the OneOrigin team, their willingness to take the extra step, to bend over backwards, to go above and beyond, to assist in every single need that came up along the way. We had more meetings than normal. We had more conversations than normal. We sent more transcripts than normal. We broke a lot of those normals for them, but they were willing to assist us. They're willing to be supportive of us, and they still provide that support to us even right now as our high school transcript processing system is up and running. And really, as it says in this last bullet here on the slide, no more manual process. The only thing we have to do is upload our transcripts to Slate, which happens automatically 95% of the time already through some of these other CAS systems or anything else that we take in our application. So really the only thing that's manual is uploading our transcript. After that, everything else is fully automated from the point of it hitting the student's record to coming back into Slate and out to our SIS with all that data included. So within, I would say, five months from us having literally scanning in paper transcripts, we are, I would say, at a 99% phase where we are almost completely automated with transcripts coming in and data getting processed, coming back, and then moving to the necessary data systems to the side, the peripheral necessary data systems. Just taking one step further, moving on to kind of talk about why that automation is key and really how that transformational shift took place. You'll see it as it comes up. The personnel resource savings really is the largest portion here where we saw, I would say, a sigh of relief. Like I mentioned earlier in this webinar, our time as an operations department was dominated by transcript processing. We had to process every single transcript that came through, regardless of if it was a copy of one that we already had. It didn't matter if it was almost illegible or it was a crumpled up picture of one. We had to process every single transcript that came through. Now we're able to actually take on additional needs for our CRM that really we were neglecting because this was such a necessary process to our workflow and to our admissions funnel. We have since provided, which I think is really kind of exceptional from a managerial and leadership standpoint. I've been able to now provide those individuals underneath me more of a growth experience instead of saying, hey, can you just do this one process for me? That's all your job is going to be. Now they've expanded that. They've expanded their ability to lead the student workers, our grad assistantship that is, we now have to take on bigger, larger projects that now save me time to go in and create additional, more efficient, better automated processes. It really was an immediate shift for us in that personnel resource savings for that time capital that I know everyone is here on this call. The reason why you're here is because you're spending a lot of your time capital on a process similar to what we experienced. That meaningful work efficiency, as I mentioned before, I'll share a personal experience from JU. We had a number of not very effective imports that happened maybe 2 years before myself and the rest of my team really were a part of operations. That caused a lot of havoc, wreaked a lot of havoc, I'll say, inside of our CRM that affected over 1 million of our records that happened, that we've had for a long time. This is with our main data sets, our sub data sets, our entities, and beyond. And now my student workers are working on that, and each time they hit a 100,000 mark, we throw a little party for them. But we were never able to work on that. We were never able to clean up that issue that not only caused issues with our CRM and admissions, but the 3 to 4 other peripheral data systems that we sent data to. Now we're able to do that because this manual process had been taken over and automated. The improved staff and student experience, we have increased our time from student applying, again, rolling admissions. So I know deadline admissions is a little bit different. we try to do a 2-week timeline. 2 weeks, if after you apply, as long as you have a completed application, 2 weeks later, we will attempt to have a decision out to you. That was a very aggressive timeline for what we had to do and to ensure that all of these transcripts were getting processed, especially during that August, September rush, and then again the rush that we experienced around that December, January, February timeframe when we were getting thousands of applications a day, thousands of transcripts a day, I should say. And so improve staff and student experience from our prospective student getting their decision quicker, from 2 weeks to about a week to a week and a half. But also our staff experience, because now they didn't have to field the questions of, hey, I swear I submitted my transcript. Hey, I think this came through. Hey, I don't think my GPA is correct. Things of that nature. We have that reduced transcript fulfillment time. Again, that kind of speaks to that increased prospective student experience for these individuals, to make sure that we're alleviating some of that question that was popping up in guidance counselors' minds, students' minds, parents' minds. A lot of the questions that were flowing through to our emails and our front office line. And then improved efficiency and accuracy, I think, is the most important from my standpoint. So I think the greatest relief we found was through the personnel resource savings. But from my mind, the ROI, what we experienced was from this improved efficiency and this improved accuracy. SIA doesn't have human error. Once she's trained with your feeder schools, looking through some of these new variants that may be coming through, there isn't human error. So once she is 90% sure, she's 90% sure. It's not, oh well, whoops, we instead of typing 2 on my keyboard, I typed a 3 by accident. Like, it isn't that. It comes right through. So the accuracy is very impressive, and then the efficiency of which SIA is now processing transcripts, processing new variants of transcripts, training herself on transcripts that are illegible, unreadable, and the speed that it is delivered back to us is exceptional. And so that not only, as I mentioned before, cuts down time for prospective students to get decisions, for staff to be able to read applications, but it also is an increased time frame for transfer credit evaluations to get through, for final transcripts to get processed for students who are actually coming here. For any type of other situation, athletics deals a lot with our transcripts if they need to send them to the NCAA. There are so many other offices that are impacted by this increased efficiency, this increased accuracy. Better and more accurate financial aid packaging for those merit scholarships. It really is incredible to see the full picture and the full realm of truly how that kind of has affected us. Transcript season is no longer scary. I mean, it really was. We would get gift cards for our student workers. I would take my admissions ops specialist out to lunch, getting to prepare for transcript season. And it's no longer one of those, I'm spending some late nights or I'm going to be really stressed. Now I get 0 questions because it comes in, it goes out, it comes back, and everything's right. So the fact of the matter is, AI is incredible. What it can do is incredible. What it will continue to grow into is incredible. We've already had conversations about what else can we do. That's the other thing that really where we love our partnership with OneOrigin's team is, it's not just what are we currently doing, is it good enough for you? It's what else can we do? How can we better your experience? From their dashboard that they'll provide you to SIA's AI. What else can we see? She doesn't only have to process transcripts. What else can we do? What other options are there out there? You work in higher ed and they value your feedback. They take your feedback and they act on your feedback, which I think is highly valuable in a client vendor relationship. And I think that gets lost in the shuffle a lot of the time nowadays. So beyond everything that I've spoken about, and I know I speak very quickly. I apologize for that. I'm originally from New York, not from Florida, so we tend to talk quickly. But beyond everything I've spoken about, beyond everything you've seen on these slides that I've spoken through, what I'm really excited about in our partnership is now, okay, I've seen what they can do for us, and by seeing what they can do for us, I know what they can continue to grow into and to continue to offer us in the future, which is extremely exciting as a prospect for working for an institution in technology specifically and operations specifically as well. One less thing we have to work on to have more time for meaningful work to continue moving forward in our institution. Let the professionals with OneOrigin, and let Sia, who is the top professional, worry about our transcripts, and now we get to worry about everything else we have to keep moving forward in our institution. So I think I'm okay to move on and pass it over back to the OneOrigin. Pass it over to the OneOrigin team. I believe is now my time, and I'm happy to talk about anything else more in depth during the Q&A if anyone has any specific questions for me.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Again, really great thoughts there. We do appreciate it. Before we continue to move on, just one additional survey that we were looking for you guys. Like I said, we're always interested in getting some additional information. We're just curious about sort of how you feel about the potential of AI solving your problems that we talked about a little bit earlier. So we'd love your guys' insight on that, just so we can understand sort of where the needle is moving. Fantastic. And as some answers get rolling in there, perfect. All righty. Great stuff there. So now that we've sort of heard from Dan about what this is possible, for your organization, now we're going to hear from my colleague Charvi, who's going to tell us sort of more about SIA and the transcript processing solution that Jacksonville University implemented. And she'll give us a better understanding of sort of how seamlessly, SIA can integrate with your organization.
Thanks, Matthew. Hey, everyone. So this kind of is a very generic data flow that we have. So how it goes is you get your transcripts from all of these third-party applications, or student directly submit to you, and you have it in your CRM systems or in your document management or maybe in your imaging system, and irrespective of the format, be it PDF or JPG or any other format that you get. So you dump or store all of your transcripts here. So what we'll do, or what SIA will do, is pick that transcripts from any of these systems that you have, maybe either single upload, or we can even bulk upload these transcripts. She extracts the data, processes it, applies any of the custom business logics that or criteria that you have in case of high school, or in case of college transfers. With help of articulation tables, we can SIA will give out course equivalencies and grade point conversion in case of international. So all of this will be applied and extracted, and then while sending the data back, we can send it back to your CRM systems or student information system or any other destination that you might choose. SIA today, she is able to connect with over 3,000 different systems out there. She can integrate with them seamlessly. And the entire process, like Dan has already mentioned, like per transcript, it hardly takes like a second or two. And the best part here is everything happens on your infrastructure, like we are SOC 2 Type 2 certified organization. So everything is on your cloud. You have the control to see what goes on and how it processes and everything. Yeah, this is how the data flows, and this is how it looks like, and this is how even Jacksonville University have implemented. And yeah, so if you guys have, I guess, any question here, you guys can drop the question in the chat. But yeah. I guess that's me. Matthew, you can take over from here.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Charvi. Really appreciate that. So really interesting just to see sort of how easily that stuff can get added into your organization. Looks like we're doing pretty well on time. So like we said at the beginning, we would love to, like I said, kind of pose some questions, Dan, both to you and Charvi and the rest of the team, and just get a little bit more information based on some stuff that we've been hearing about today. You guys ready? Wonderful, wonderful. So Dan, one quick question for you, just to start us off. You know, we talked a little bit about sort of scalability and the ability to grow with SIA and with OneOrigin. We had a question come in about, you know, looking for a little bit more context as to the scale that you've seen since implementing SIA. So can you provide a little bit of context for us in terms of maybe, you know, how much you were able to scale, maybe how much faster you were able to process transcripts, or how much more volume you were able to get through?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned it briefly. I think it was most noticeable in, I think, the speed of which we were able to get the applications completed, the status completed. You know, in our kind of admissions office, we don't require, you know, you're able to submit an essay, but you know, certain programs require an essay, but for the most general programs, we don't require an essay. We don't require the OneOrigin orientation unless you're nursing, aviation management, things of that nature. So a lot of students do get held up by that transcript kind of being processed into our CRM and then assigned to their record with the accurate data. We also have to, that's kind of the point of the process where we try to make sure that the transcript is usable to determine admission. You know, I'm sure people on this call understand that there are, you know, a lot of times where we receive transcripts that we won't be able to use for that determination of admission, whether it's not official, they only have 2 years worth of grades on it, you know, so on and so forth. So I think the largest portion of where we experience that kind of increase of efficiency or that scalability, it was the point from when the transcript hit our system, when it was submitted to us, like I said, and Charvi kind of touched on it in that workflow, whether it's from the CAS system, parchment, whether it was submitted via email or sent in paper copy, more so that's more for the college side of things. From the point of which we were able to get it into our system, I would say during our peak times of year when we received the largest load of applicants and then the largest load of transcripts, where we were, like I said, I mean, there were times in the year where we would receive into, you know, we're a smaller school, but we would receive over 1,000 transcripts in a day or two when we got a bulk import from the CAS system, or we got a bulk import from Parchment. We got one of those DIPs set up with our CRM. And before, we would have 5 employees sitting down, processing those transcripts. And if we got through them in a day, and we tried to make it, I mean, we got the manual process to probably the maximum efficiency we could get it to. And I would say that's where that 2 to 3 week timeline came from, of that's how we'll get you your decision out. After implementing with SIA and getting to a point where SIA was, you know, at a certain confidence level to provide us an automatic process back into Slate, and that we were comfortable with the data coming back into Slate, that took that time frame from a 2 to 3 week kind of point to probably about a week to a week and a half. And our counselors were moving from being able to review anywhere from 15 to 20 applications a day to upwards of 50. We even had some counselors that were who had larger territory loads to get upwards of 75 applications read through the day. So our transcripts, we got our transcripts processed. So I guess in that mindset, you know, the same amount are getting processed. However, I think where we saw that scalability was increased efficiency from the point the student submitted their application, submitted their transcript to us, to the point of the processed completion and a decision getting out to those students, which in today's day and age in admissions, it really does make a massive difference in a student making their decision, getting a decision in front of them, getting them a financial aid decision or financial aid package in front of them. The other big change that we saw was I think the increased speed in which we were able to provide that information over to the registrar's office and the financial aid and student accounts office to provide things like transfer, equivalency evaluations, transfer credit evaluations, to provide those financial aid packages if we were doing some type of academic scholarship at that point. So there was I guess that would be considered like the time frame was almost cut in half of the point of the transcript in our system to the point of which that student can then complete the application and receive the decision. If that makes sense. I don't know if I answered that question, Matthew, the way you would like it, but that's how I took that question.
No, I thought that was excellent. That was really sort of exactly what we were looking for, I think. One thing we are getting a number of questions about, and I think Charvi, you may be able to speak to this as well as Dan. We're getting a lot of questions about sort of the ability for SIA to integrate with different CRM systems. So Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said you were using Slate over at JU. We were just curious, Charvi, perhaps how easily that SIA could implement with other CRMs such as Salesforce, TES, things like this, that other organizations may be using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we, like I mentioned, that SIA already integrates with around 3,000 different systems that are out there, both CRM, SIS. Yeah, SIA can easily, as long as any of the APIs are available, and in case even if APIs are not available, we can work it out and then we can connect. And I guess, like we can definitely get on a one-on-one discussion, and I can show you how SIA would integrate with your dedicated system and how we can work things out. You have our contact details here, and in case if you have any more questions as well, I guess we can talk there, and I can also walk you through the exact platform as well.
And Matthew, I just want to a quick add on to Charvi from our personal experience. So one of the biggest pain points was that API. So if the API is available, OneOrigin can connect to anything as long as you have those API endpoints, able to be built. We weren't able to do that. So what the team did was they worked. Granted, we have an inherited FTP through Slate, through Technolutions, and they were able to connect through that SFTP or any other type of secure file transfer process as well. So I would imagine that's where that conversation with Charvi would go.
Excellent, perfect. Thank you both for that. So just a couple of other things that people seem to be a little bit curious about. Charvi, are you able to speak at all to potentially, how much training material is needed before SIA is, after sort of the go live date, how much of that training material is necessary to get those high levels of confidence that we were talking about?
Yeah, like Dan has already mentioned that SIA, because she's an AI engine today, you can just upload the transcripts and she's able to extract about 60 to 70% of the data. But to get that 100% accuracy, we kind of need details of your top 10 feeder schools, and then probably just have those transcripts and train SIA with that. So not many materials are required.
Got it. Okay. Once it's done the learning, it's already learned. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just looking in here through some other questions, looks like a few of these are things that we've sort of already touched on. Yeah, just going through. So people asking about the CRM, the implementation that way, asking about the training and things like this. Is there any other questions that anyone had as we start wrapping up here? Okay, interesting question. So Charvi, this could be similar to the last question that you had. So right now, are you able to speak to maybe how, the number of high schools or the number of different types of transcripts that SIA is sort of able to recognize already with what she's trained with?
Yeah, so I guess with high schools, about 3,000 to 6,000 plus formats have been trained for SIA already. And talking about the states, I mean, we have covered mostly from, completely from West Coast to East Coast. And any new vendor that will be coming on will get access to the ones that we've already trained for. So I guess there's no, in case if there is something completely new format, that will be happening during the training session. But apart from that, they will have access to the already trained ones.
Got it. Okay, absolutely. So that's wonderful.
International as well.
Perfect. I was going to say a new question just came in about international transcripts, so the same applies as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that is fantastic. So I think at the moment, it looks like we don't have a ton of other questions coming in. I think this will be sort of where we wrap up everything. So just as we sort of wrap up here, I do again want to thank everyone for attending this session. Hope you have some new insights into sort of the ability of AI and specifically SIA for automated transcript processing that we can bring to your institution. If you have any kind of questions, anything like that, if you'd like to go a little bit more in depth, certainly can get in contact with either myself or Charvi or anyone else on the OneOrigin team. We would love to go through one-on-one with you. You'd be happy to request a one-on-one demo that we can go through all this information with you for you with, or you can check us out on our website at heysia.ai. So again, thank you everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to speaking with you in the future.